Welcome to Transformational Fighting Arts Online. I'm Sifu Marcus Lovemore. Today what we're going to be doing is we're going to go over some fundamental parts of the straight punch. And it's a very basic concept in everything that we do, but without the straight punch, really nothing else really happens. So the first thing I'm going to go over is which lead should you use for your straight punch, because that gets a little confusing sometimes. Everybody comes and asks me, which should you be right-handed, left-handed? I mean, in most systems, it's a left-handed lead, but in jiu-jitsu and in transformational fighting arts, it is a right-hand lead generally. So, why is it a right-hand lead? Right-hand lead generally is because most people are right-handed, and the concept is that you want your strong hand closest to target. So, if you're in your stance, and I highly recommend you go to some of my fundamental tapes on the Baizhang or the on-guard stance, and go take a look at that so you understand what the on-guard stance is all about. And then come here and re-look at this video. So, you're in your stance, right? You're in your on-guard stance, and your front hand should be closest to the target. Why? Because the close hand to the target, you want this hand to travel the least amount of distance to hit whomever or whatever you're trying to hit. So that's one of the issues. You want this hand, this front hand, which tends to float closer to the targets, to be your strong hand. This rear hand should be not necessarily your weak hand, but it should be the one that is less proficient, because it has to do less of the motion in most of your punching. So if you're right-handed, you should go right hand forward. If you're left-handed, you should go left hand forward. There is no distinct rule about that, because eventually you're going to be shifting hands when you're fighting, depending on your situation. But generally, you want your powerful hand to be doing most of the activity and to be closest to the target you're hitting. So remember the rule of 3-2-1. If it's 3 motions, make it 2. If it's 2 motions, make it 1. So, the straight punch. Basically, the straight punch comes from more of a kung fu system, so we're not going to be throwing a punch like in boxing, which turns over like that. We're going to be throwing what they call a vertical punch. So that means you're going to be hitting with these 3 knuckles, and you're going to be hitting with your fist in this position. If you want to hit with an open palm, I suggest you hit with your open palm like this, but it's just a vertical fist. So that's the position of the fist. The position of the arm in the straight punch. The straight punch comes out of your Baizhang from here, and what you want to do is make sure your elbow is in and it comes straight out to your target. So it goes straight out to your target. The arm doesn't move very much, it just goes straight out to your target. Remember, we're not turning over or twisting anything. The least amount of motion for the most amount of power. That's what you're trying to do. The other thing is you want to try and keep your elbow in. So when you're throwing the shot, your arm should just go straight out. It's kind of like, if you ever seen Rock'em Sock'em Robots, that's how I want your punches to look. If your punches start popping with the elbow out, it's going to be a little bit too much shoulder, and once again, it's going to show too much tell in the shoulder, because what you want them to see only your hand throwing straight to target. It's almost like if I shot an arrow straight down at your eye, it'd be very hard for you to pick up the arrow in 3-dimensional space, because all you would see was the arrow getting bigger because it's going straight at you. That's how I want your punch to be, is to go straight at that opponent's eye. When you start going in more 3-dimensional X, Y, Z axes, what happens is your eyes start picking up the motion easier, so you can actually pinpoint the punch in midair. So it gives you more of a tell when you're turning over and you're starting the punch from your shoulder. I want you to start your punch from your hand. The first thing that should move is your hand. Hand to target, right? Hand to target. With the turning over the shoulder punch, notice the shoulder twitches first before you throw that punch. So this is why I want the straight punch to be vertical. So it goes straight to target. No curves on your punches. Straight to target, straight to target. Comes out, elbow in, straight to target. But here's where it differs from a lot of punches. It does not come straight back. What it does, it pops on more of an elliptical level. So what happens, it goes straight out and then it bends at the elbow and then the elbow drops back down. So in slow, it pops out, bends, and comes back out. Now remember, you never want to straighten your elbow because you're going to hyperextend your elbow and that's going to hurt. You want to stop right to this point, right to that point, and then come back. The other big issue is, remember, you need to be relaxed up until contact. So relaxed, relaxed, up until contact, and relaxed. My Sifu used to say, pretend you're holding an egg and that you're holding it nicely and you crack the egg on contact and then you drop the egg right afterwards, okay? You want it to stay really relaxed right up until contact. So that's the arm. That's what the arm does. It goes out, pops back here. So, of course, if you check out some of my other tapes on fundamentals of power, you'll understand that's not where the power comes from. So I highly recommend you look at that series about fundamental power generation, okay? So you want to add that fundamental power generation. What you want to do as the punch goes out, remember that exercise, this one, boom, it is that motion that you want to enact right as the punch hits. So that punch, the hip and the punch should express at the same time. Remember to pop that heel, because without that heel coming up, it's going to be very hard for you to rotate your hip through the plane of the target, okay? As the punch comes back, it rechambers the hip. So the full punch, boom, 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 boom. And from the side, right? Remember, stay over your center. Even though this heel goes up, your center, your shoulders stay level. Basically, you just put a little bit more bend in this knee, okay? In, out. Watch the turn. Remember this position? You have to get your shoulders all the way around. Hit and out. Hit and out. There you go. This rotation is the important part. You need to feel the rotation move up your spine and express out your arm. Without that, you're not going to get any power, okay? You want to do that and snap it, remember? Snap it. You don't want to freeze frame and then come back. There's always a snap. You really want to think about the recoil more important than the out, okay? Lastly, I really think you need to really think about staying relaxed in this. That's the hardest part, to stay relaxed, go forward, keep your elbow in, rotate the hip, generate the power, stay over your center, and remember to screw into the ground in order to get a little bit more grounding, okay? If you have any questions, or if you like this, please go to Transformational Fighting Arts online, send me a comment. I would love to hear from you. By the way, all of this free material is only possible through your donations, so please donate anything. We accept anything from $1 to $1,000, anything. It allows me to continue this good free information and content. Also, please go subscribe. Subscribing is very easy. You just put in your email address, and then you can get all of these videos, because on Transformational Fighting Arts is the only place you'll get some exclusive videos that you can't get anywhere else. So go check that out. It's Transformational Fighting Arts online. I'm Sifu Marcus Lovemore. It's not about knowing it, it's about living it. Thank you.